Let's talk about someone whose name still sparks curiosity decades later, Sharon Tate. Lately, you've probably seen her name appearing again. Maybe in old photographs, documentaries, movie discussions, or conversations about Hollywood's most unforgettable stories. And if you've noticed that too, you're not alone. Somehow, every new generation seems to rediscover her story. But here's the thing. Most people know Sharon Tate because of the tragedy that ended her life. Far fewer know the woman she was before that night. And that's the story worth telling. Before we get into today's story, take a second to subscribe to the channel and hit notification bell. Let's go back to the beginning. In the 1960s, Hollywood was changing. A new generation of actors was arriving, and among them was a young woman whose warmth and natural charm stood out almost immediately. Sharon Tate wasn't just admired for her beauty. The people who worked with her often described her as kind, humble, and surprisingly down-to-earth in an industry known for its glamour. As opportunities began to grow, so did her confidence. She appeared in television before moving into films, gradually proving that she had more to offer than a camera-ready smile. Movies like The Fearless Vampire Killers introduced audiences to a performer who could balance elegance with humor. She wasn't trying to become a symbol. She simply wanted to build a career she could be proud of. And little by little, she was doing exactly that. But here's what many people don't realize. Success wasn't handed to her overnight. Like countless young actors in Hollywood, she faced rejection, criticism, and the pressure to fit an impossible image. Yet those who knew her often remembered someone who remained optimistic despite it all. Then came another turning point. Her marriage to filmmaker Roman Polanski placed the couple in the spotlight, making them one of Hollywood's most talked-about pairs. To the public, it looked like the beginning of an exciting new chapter. Professionally, Sharon's career was gaining momentum. Personally, she was preparing for motherhood and looking forward to the future. Everything seemed to be falling into place. And then everything changed. In August 1969, the world woke up to news that shocked Hollywood and beyond. Sharon Tate, only 26 years old and expecting her first child, was murdered in a crime that became one of the most infamous in American history. The brutality of the case dominated newspapers around the world, and for many people, her name became forever connected to that horrifying event. But that's also where her true story became overshadowed. For decades, conversations about Sharon Tate often focused on the crime instead of the life she lived. The headlines became larger than the person herself. And that's unfortunate because the people closest to her rarely spoke first about the tragedy. They spoke about her kindness, her laughter, her generosity, and the sense that she had an incredibly bright future ahead of her. Today, you're seeing her name appear once again, not only because history remembers what happened, but because many people are trying to remember who she actually was. Old interviews, restored photographs, and documentaries have encouraged audiences to look beyond the headlines and discover the woman behind them. That's why her story continues to resonate. It isn't simply about one of Hollywood's darkest chapters. It's also about a talented young actress whose potential was never fully realized, a life interrupted before it had the chance to reach its next act. Because sometimes, history remembers the ending so loudly that it forgets everything that came before it. And perhaps the most meaningful way to remember Sharon Tate isn't through the tragedy that made headlines around the world, but through the life, kindness, and promise that so many people believed she carried with her every single day.